While 60% of leaders fail within their first 2 years, a small group of executives consistently build thriving organizations worth billions. The difference? They avoid 5 critical mistakes that derail most leadership careers. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact framework Fortune 500 leaders use to sidestep these traps, and I'll show you the data proving why this matters more than ever in 2025. Here's what's happening right now. According to McKinsey's latest 2025 leadership research, the cost of failed leadership has reached $2 billion per day in the United States alone. That's not just about bad hires. It's about leaders making preventable mistakes that destroy team morale, kill innovation, and drive top talent straight to competitors. And the worst part? Most leaders don't even realize they're making these mistakes until it's too late. I analyzed the latest leadership data from Harvard Business Review, DDI's 2025 Global Leadership Forecast, and studied what separates successful executives at companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Netflix from those who crash and burn. What I found were 5 patterns, 5 mistakes that show up again and again in failing organizations, and 5 strategies the winners use instead. And before we dive in, if you want weekly insights like this on how Fortune 500 leaders actually think and operate, hit that subscribe button now. We break down executive strategies that drive real results, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Mistake number 1, the communication catastrophe. Here's the reality. According to 2025 data from McKinsey Company, 72% of employees report their leaders provide unclear direction, and this single issue costs organizations an average of $420,000 per year in lost productivity. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. When Satya Nadella took over Microsoft in 2014, he inherited a company where different divisions literally wouldn't share information with each other. Teams were working on competing projects without even knowing it. Sound familiar? Here's what Nadella did differently, and you can implement this starting tomorrow. He created what he called radical transparency protocols. Every Monday, leadership sent a company-wide memo outlining 3 things: what we're working on, why it matters, and how it connects to our mission. Simple, right? But here's the key. It wasn't just one-way communication. He established feedback loops where team members could ask questions and get responses within 24 hours. The result? Microsoft's market cap grew from $300 billion to over $3 trillion. That's not just about good products. It's about communication systems that actually work. Here's your action plan for this week. Implement the 3-part communication system. Every team meeting, answer these 3 questions. What are we doing? Why does it matter? How does it connect to the bigger picture? And create a 24-hour response protocol for team questions. Watch what happens to clarity and execution. Mistake number 2 is what I call the micromanagement trap, and the data here is shocking. DDI's 2025 report found that 72% of leaders feel used up at the end of the day. And here's why. They're trying to control everything instead of empowering their teams. Let me tell you about Netflix's approach, because they figured this out before everyone else. Reed Hastings, Netflix's founder, realized something critical. The more he controlled, the less his team innovated. So he implemented what they call context over control. Here's how it works. Instead of telling people exactly what to do, Netflix leaders provide 3 things: clear goals, decision-making frameworks, and trust with accountability. For example, their famous Keeper test asks managers 1 question. If this person told you they're leaving, would you fight to keep them? If yes, give them more autonomy. If no, help them find a better fit. The results speak for themselves. Netflix employees report 85% satisfaction with decision-making autonomy compared to an industry average of 43%. And their retention rate for high performers, over 90%. Quick question before we continue. Which of these mistakes are you seeing in your organization right now? Drop it in the comments, and if this framework is helping you think differently about leadership, hit that like button. Here's what you implement this week. The context framework. For your next project, instead of giving step-by-step instructions, provide the 3 essentials: clear outcome expected, decision-making principles to guide them, and support available if they need it. Then, and this is crucial, let them figure out how to get there. Mistake number 3 kills more careers than the first 2 combined. Decision-making paralysis. According to BCG's 2025 research, the average executive now faces 33% more complex decisions than they did in 2019. But here's the problem. Most leaders are using the same decision frameworks from 20 years ago. Let me show you what Amazon does differently with their famous Type 1 versus Type 2 decision framework. Jeff Bezos identified that most leaders treat all decisions the same way: massive analysis, endless meetings, committee approvals. But Amazon categorizes every decision into 2 types. Type 1 decisions are one-way doors. You can't reverse them easily. These need deep analysis. Type 2 decisions are 2-way doors. You can reverse them if you're wrong. These need speed, not perfection. Here's the key. 90% of decisions are Type 2, but most leaders treat them like Type 1. Amazon's leadership team can make Type 2 decisions in under 30 minutes with just the relevant people in the room. Type 1 decisions might take weeks. The result? Amazon moves faster than competitors 3 times their size, and they've maintained double-digit growth for over 2 decades. Before we get to your implementation plan, this is exactly the kind of executive strategy we break down every single week. Join the community of leaders transforming their approach. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss these insights. Your action plan. Tomorrow, categorize your current decisions. Create 2 lists. One-way doors that need deep analysis, and 2-way doors where speed matters more than perfection. Then commit to deciding on every Type 2 decision within 48 hours. Watch your team's velocity increase. Mistake number 4 is the most toxic: accountability avoidance. Here's what the data shows. When leaders fail to take responsibility, team trust drops by 67% according to Deloitte's 2025 Workplace Trust Survey. And here's what's worse. It creates a culture where everyone starts avoiding accountability. Look at how Patagonia handles this differently. When their supply chain had environmental issues in 2024, CEO Ryan Gellert didn't blame suppliers or market conditions. He publicly said, "We failed to maintain our standards, and I take full responsibility." Then he outlined exactly what they'd change. The result? Employee engagement increased 34%, and customer loyalty actually strengthened. Why? Because people respect leaders who own their mistakes and fix them. Patagonia's radical accountability system has 3 parts: public ownership of failures, specific action plans to fix them, and transparent progress updates. Here's your implementation. Next time something goes wrong on your team, use this script. This is on me. Here's what I should have done differently. Here's how we'll prevent it next time. Watch how quickly your team starts taking ownership too. The 5th and final mistake: recognition failure. McKinsey's 2025 data shows that companies with strong recognition cultures have 31% lower turnover and 12% higher productivity. But here's the shocking part. 89% of leaders think they recognize achievements adequately. Only 42% of employees agree. Microsoft's transformation under Satya Nadella included what they call recognition rituals. Every Friday, team leaders spend 15 minutes recognizing specific contributions, not generic "good job" messages. Specific achievements tied to business outcomes. For example, Sarah's solution to the authentication issue saved us 3 weeks of development time and improved security by 40%. That's specific, measurable, and tied to impact. Microsoft's employee engagement scores increased from 62% to 91% in 3 years. Your implementation starting Monday. Create a recognition ritual. Every week, identify 3 specific achievements from your team. Include what they did, why it mattered, and the measurable impact. Do this publicly. Watch retention and engagement transform. Let's bring this together with your 30-day implementation roadmap. Week 1. Install the 3-part communication system: what, why, and how it connects. Week 2. Implement the context framework. Let your team own the how while you provide clear outcomes. Week 3. Start categorizing decisions as Type 1 or Type 2 and commit to 48-hour decisions on Type 2s. Week 4. Establish your recognition ritual and accountability system. Before you implement these strategies, help other leaders discover this content. The frameworks we just covered are exactly what separates successful executives from those who become part of the 60% failure statistic. Hit like if these Fortune 500 strategies gave you actionable insights you can use immediately. Subscribe for more executive frameworks that actually work in the real world. We publish every week. And share this with a fellow leader or entrepreneur who needs to see these 5 strategies. Which of these 5 mistakes resonates most with your current challenges? Drop it in the comments below and join the leaders who are transforming their approach with these weekly insights. The conversation continues in the community.
This is the C-Suite Playbook, where Fortune 500 strategies meet actionable insights. Your competitive advantage starts here.